Hey, welcome to Two Doctors Homestead. My name's Daniel, and this is Prepper Pantry Pick of the Week. And for this week, we're shopping in our own pantry. Wanted to do a bit of a recap video for the last 6 or 8 videos that we've done. There's a lot of new people on the channel, and we just want to kind of pull everything together and just do a summary of the last few videos, go over some of the items that we have, tell you a little bit about them, try to give you some ideas for your own prepper pantry. The idea being is have some food in reserve, right? There's been a lot going on in the world the last few years. I think have inspired a lot of people to try to build up a little bit of a food reserve at home, so you're not going week to week or day to day and shopping any more than you have to, or at least to have something set aside in case of emergency. I think it's time more than ever to do that now, even if you look at the last few years. Scary part is maybe looking at the next few years and not really know what's coming down the road, right? There's a lot of stuff going on in the world today, and it doesn't seem like things are getting better over time, right? When you look ahead, it can be pretty grim just trying to take everything in. So we're trying to give people ideas for their pantry, and we know food's expensive. It's one of the most expensive things you probably deal with day to day, week to week. Most of the items we're trying to show you fall into that maybe dollar or day less category. They're things you can buy that have long shelf lives that aren't going to be super expensive, right? We've looked in the last, some of the first videos, we hit things like flour that worked out to about 50 cents a day for 2,000 calories. So even if you're budget conscious, if you have an extra 50 cents or really the money to buy a bag of flour, you can get a lot of calories built up over time slowly if you focus on items that have a long shelf life, right? They're going to last, your investment's going to last, and look at things that are more affordable, right? You don't have to spend 15, 20 bucks on an MRE to get one meal if you can buy a bag of flour and it's 50 cents a day, right? And when we say a day, we're talking 2,000 calories. If you're above 1,500 calories, they really kind of call that the starvation level, depending, of course, on your own physical capabilities. But generally, 1,500 calories is the starvation level. 2,000 calories is kind of the USDA average when you're looking at the back of nutritional levels and whatnot. There's that percent of daily value, and that's based on 2,000 calories. Now, your caloric needs are going to vary, right? We're just talking about averages and standard numbers. So you got to do what works for you, right? And some of these items may not be good depending on your health or the type of any kind of health issues you have or anything like that, your metabolism, any allergies, right? So not everything's going to work for everybody. You've got to do what works for you. So having said that, let's jump into some of these items and just want to talk about why they might be a good choice to have in your pantry. First one is the Noir Golden Dusk instant coffee. Love coffee. That's a big part of my day. Every day is drinking the coffee. What I like about this, and it's not the brand, and it really wasn't the cost when it comes to coffee for me. And of course, there's very little nutritional value in coffee. I don't think there's anything really listed. What I like is the glass jar and the fact that it's instant coffee, right? Instant coffee has a tremendous shelf life. I don't know. On here, this says it's good until 2024, which is about a year and a half from when I bought it. But if you look online, instant coffee itself has between 2 to 20 years, depending on what you look at, 18 to 24 months, over 20 years. So from what I've read, a lot of people are saying instant coffee almost has an unlimited shelf life, if not 20 years, right? I can't promise 20 years. You've got the best by date on the container. Whenever you're going past that, you really have to use your best judgment, right? Not promising your coffee is going to be good in 20 years. As a tip, if coffee develops an off flavor or appearance, or if mold appears, it should be discarded, right? So if your coffee is moldy or funky, maybe don't drink it. But in terms of shelf life, instant coffee lasts a long time, right? So it's something, if you enjoy coffee, which I do, you're going to want your instant coffee. As a tip, I've done a lot of camping, a lot of outdoor stuff. You can pour instant coffee in a bottle of water, right? If there's room in the bottle, you put some instant coffee, shake it up. You've just got bottled water coffee, right? So instant coffee is great because it's easy, it's quick, it's something you can get at, and it might make a big difference, right, to your day if you're caffeine addicted or dependent. So I want to jump in on the Great Northern beans. We talked about these before and we compared them to dry beans, right? I know a lot of people are big on the canned goods. Everyone's pushing canned goods, and I get it. The idea is that long shelf life, right? Long shelf life and ease. You don't have to cook it. It's already cooked in the can when it's packaged, so you open it up and you can eat your beans. Right, you don't have to worry about, do you have fire, do you have electricity, do you have any way to cook the food, prepare the food when you're dealing with dry beans. Maybe your Instapot doesn't work. It's hard to just chew on dry beans. So I understand the draw of canned beans. When we looked at this 15.5 ounce can of beans, it was 79 cents, right? Which sounds like a good deal, 79 cents for a can of beans. It's 3.5 servings, 100 calories per serving, 350 calories for the can, which works out to about 4 calories to a penny. Now, when you compare that to dry beans, we were looking at 1,500 calories per pound of dry beans, 93 cents a pound. Cost per calorie is 17 calories to a penny. So rather 4 calories to a penny for the canned beans, 17 calories to a penny for the dry beans. So it's 5 times more calories per pound, 4 times more calories per dollar. So I really push towards the dry beans, but it's good to have both, right? You want to have both options in your pantry. If you're space conscious, if you're cost conscious, you get a lot more calories per dollar for dry beans versus the canned goods, but canned goods have that advantage of quick and easy, right? So you want to have both, but I wouldn't lean too hard on one or the other. The canned goods, canned beans, and really any canned goods, but specifically this can is 480 milligrams per serving, so that's 20% of your daily. It's about 3.5 servings per container, so one can of beans, which is only 350 calories, so it's not even a full day, has about 70% of your daily, right? So you're going to have to eat 5 cans of beans, and you're going to end up maybe 4 or 5 times your daily nutritional value of salt. The high level of salt can build stress. It can affect your heart. It can affect your health. So the idea of living permanently on canned goods, canned beans, these beans, or really any canned goods, that's a lot of salt, and that salt is going to cause health complications, potentially depending on your health. If you're young, if you're in great health, you've got no issues, maybe you can absorb that much salt. But if you're not in perfect health, or you have any kind of health sensitivity or salt sensitivity, the idea of living completely on canned goods, you're going to just blow yourself out of the water with salt. So wanted to point that out, and I get why people say canned goods are the way to go. The dry beans, in this case, they take up less space, they cost less money, you've got a lot more calories per pound, right, on the dry beans. So I wanted to get that out of the way. One of the other items we looked at, something you might want to think about, this is tricolor rotini. We looked at elbow macaroni before, but I already ate the elbow macaroni, but I do have the tricolor rotini. So I'll kind of give you the information for both. In terms of shelf life, right, of any kind of dry noodles, you could say 3 years in the original packaging. It can be extended if you've seen Mylar bags, O2 absorbers. We've done videos on those. You can get a lot of years, right? If you're storing your pasta properly, some people are saying it doesn't go bad. Compendium of the microbiological spoilage of foods and beverage, spoiled pasta is very rare, right? It's a very low moisture content, so it's unlikely to go bad on you. Certainly always use your best judgment, but in terms of a storage food, could last a long time. You've got a long shelf life, which means the money you spend on the pasta, you're not going to lose it very easily, right? You've got making an investment in calories, and you need calories to survive. So when we were looking at it before, we were looking at the 3-pound box of elbow macaroni, which is not what this is. It was $2.72, 5.7 cents per ounce, 24 servings, 200 calories per serving, 4,800 calories in the box. So you were looking at about $1.13 for a 2,000 calorie day on the elbow macaroni. The tricolor routine is a little more expensive. This is about $2.90 a day for 2,000 calories. So if you're going just straight on budget, definitely stick with the elbow macaroni all day, right? The bigger the box you can get, you usually get a better price. So we paid $2.72 for the 3-pound box. I already ate it. This was $1.76 for a 12-ounce box. So this is more expensive, but it's still pasta. If you've got the extra money to play with, whether you know the $2.72 versus $1.76, $2.90 versus $1.13, you want to mix it up a little bit, great. But if you're just going budget conscious for long-term food storage, go with the elbow macaroni, right? You're looking at $1.13 a day for 2,000 calories, which is hard to beat, right? There's a lot of stuff you can do with the macaroni, the dry macaroni, whether you're making pasta, macaroni and cheese. We like to can our own spaghetti sauce, so certainly bust out a can of spaghetti sauce. And once again, that could last for years in the can. Your pasta is certainly going to last for years if you store it properly, and you've got your own spaghetti. Or you could do macaroni and cheese. We looked at freeze-dried cheeses and stuff like that. So there's a lot of options with pasta. It's good, solid. It's heavy carbs, 7 grams of protein. If you're on keto, which I don't know in a Shtf situation if you're going to turn down carbs, but if you're on keto and it's not something you're interested in, don't get it, right? Once again, you've got to tailor this to you, what makes sense for you. I believe there is wheat, right? These are not gluten-free. So if you have any kind of a wheat allergy, once again, may not be a good idea for you. You've got to go with what works for you. But in general, unless you have a health issue preventing you from eating pasta, it's just a good, affordable source of calories, right? And those calories happen to be heavy carbs, but that'll keep you alive, and that's really what we're talking about with this, is keep you alive. Next one is corn muffin mix, right? We looked at corn muffin mix or cornbread mix. This is the corn muffin mix. This is 3 servings per container, 320 calories per serving, 960 calories for the box, and it was 60 cents. So not super expensive. It would be $1.20 for 2 boxes, which would get you 1,920 calories per day. So if you're looking for a day's worth of food, 2 of these boxes technically get you there, right? Not a very big box. You got 2 of these. Now you have to cook it, right? You're not going to just pour it in your mouth out of the package. I wouldn't think. I don't think I would recommend that. So that's compared to like the beans. Like the beans, you could crack it open and just start eating your beans. This, you can't do that, right? But it is less expensive. You're talking $1.20 a day, 93 cents a day if you're going into that 1,500 calorie range, which is just staying above the starvation level, which if that's all you can do, that's not dying, right? Not dying is important. 4 grams of protein, 56 grams of carbs, 15 grams of sugar, calcium, iron, phosphate. So it does have some of the nutritional stuff. Once again, this is heavy carb, and all the heavy carb stuff, the less expensive options are probably going to be more heavy carb. Once again, we looked at just flour, 50 cents for 2,000 calories. When you're going for cost per calorie conscious, you're going to end up with more carbs. Should you avoid canned meats? No, absolutely not. We got a ton of canned meats in our pantry. You're just paying a lot more, right? So if you're looking at just calories to stay alive, unless you're allergic to that kind of thing, these will get you there, right? These will keep you alive. So the corn muffin mix, you can do it the same stuff you would do cornbread mix. It's going to be sweeter, right? So you don't have to just make corn muffins. You do pot pie, cornbread pizza, cornbread biscotti, tamale pie, cornbread, pudding, corn dogs, corn muffin poppers, cornmeal cake, and then it goes great with chili. Obviously do love our chili. We did a chili video, Texas style, no bean chili. So I like it. I like the corn muffin mix. I think it's great. Good shelf life. 1 year on the package, and it could go up to 18 months potentially. Once again, when you're going past the best by date, you just always want to be aware and conscious of what you're eating. It is a mix, right? So it's not going to last as long as, say, just the straight masa, right, or something like that. But it is quick and easy. If you have the ability to cook, you throw it in a cast iron pot, put it on the fire. Obviously, you got to add a little water to it. Follow the instructions on the box. Cornbread mix, egg, milk. Right, you could probably do water. If you got chickens, you got egg. If you don't have egg, it's still going to end up as food. Right, and food's the important part depending on your situation. Sometimes staying alive is good enough, right? Next thing we want to look at, every college kid's favorite. Actually, I enjoy them as well, so it's not just a stash for the apocalypse. It's kind of a guilty pleasure. The ramen noodle soup. This was $3.68 for a 12-pack. Certainly has gotten a lot more expensive over time. You might be able to find them cheaper somewhere else. Certainly if you had a time machine, you could get them way cheaper. 30 cents each per package, 24 servings per container, 2 servings per individual package, 15 cents per serving for 190 calories, $1.18 for a 1,500 calorie day, $1.57 per 2,000 calorie day. So we're still under $2 a day in that, you've got 2,000 calories you can get in here for $1.57. People say they eat it dry. I don't know. You supposedly can. I was told as a kid, don't eat it dry. But from what I'm reading, people eat it dry, right? My parents probably just didn't want me eating all the ramen noodles out of the pantry, right? But they say you can eat it dry. So in terms of quick and easy, if you don't want to cook it, you could eat it just dry. If you like to cook it, I like to cook it. Get yourself some tasty noodles for $1.57 for your 2,000 calorie day. You've got 7 grams of fat, 72 grams of sodium, 27 grams of carb, 4 grams of protein per serving. So once again, heavy carb, right? You do have some protein and other stuff in there. Shelf life 8 to 12 months, maybe longer if it looks okay. Once again, we already said noodles, dry noodles have an exceptionally long shelf life potential if stored properly. Well, these are dry noodles, right? So you still have that potential for an exceptionally long shelf life. As we said, easy to cook, and you can add other stuff. You got your cans of meat we were hinting at before, chop up your Spam, whatever you got, eggs, anything like that, throw it in your ramen, and you're going to be styling. So we want to jump in. I'm going to keep moving here, trying to get through it. So salt, we did look at salt. I've got 4 salts here. I'm not going to go as deep. We have a whole video on the different kinds of salts, or some of the different kinds of salts that are out there. You do need salt to survive, right? Clearly your body needs salt to function properly. I will say you also need iodide to survive as well. So there is the iodized salt. I know a lot of people hate the iodized salt, call it poison, don't eat it. I'm not saying you should, but it is a combination of ingredients that you do need. I think I was looking at, there was a study in Britain, in the UK, that's saying there actually people are having an iodine deficiency, but they're still not recommending the salt. So the salt gets a lot of hate. Technically, you need the iodine and the salt, right? I'm not going to force you to drink it. Eat it, not saying you should. In terms of price, the plain salt and the iodized salt, they're both 2 cents per ounce, right? So these are both at the lower end. These were 64 cents. So there's no cost difference between the iodized versus the non-iodized. And in fact, the iodized salt actually has a shorter shelf life. So I always joke about shelf life of salt. Like they literally scraped this off the ground from an ocean that dried up, right? This stuff's as old as Earth. So it's not going to go bad, right? But the iodized salt will, right? And it has these. I think these all probably have a best by date. They do. Once again, the sea salt came out of the ocean. It's not going to go bad, right? It's a preservative. It's millions of years old, right? There's even a meme on that. If you look at the salt, they do have an expiration date on it. But I think the iodized salt, I was looking for that. It does have a shelf life, so just be aware. If you're getting the iodized salt, that this one's not going to last forever, and that just has to do with the other ingredients in here that will kind of break down, right? I don't quite see it all. It's the potassium iodide, sodium bicarbonate, yellow Prussia of soda. So not an unlimited shelf life. These 3 have an unlimited shelf life. So if you're looking at cost, right, in terms of nutritional information, they're all salt. They all have 0 other nutritional value. You do need salt to survive, just like you need calories to survive. These are all 0 calories. So we'll do the plain salt, 2 cents per ounce. Sea salt is 14 cents per ounce. Himalayan pink salt is 38 cents per ounce. So a huge difference between the 3, right? So why would you think about paying more, right, for your salt? Why would you want to pay 38 cents per ounce for the Himalayan salt versus 2 cents per ounce, right? It's first world problems we're dealing with here. The thing on the Himalayan pink salt, and this is people say, it has all 84 trace elements required by your body, right? So you need these trace elements, minerals, for your body to function properly, and people say Himalayan pink salt has all 84 trace elements in it. Sea salt also has extra trace elements, minerals in it. You're really not going to get a lot of those minerals, though salt itself is a mineral, in your plain salt. Now, I don't know. I really can't confirm that all 84 trace elements are in here, and something I find interesting is even though they're charging, what did I say it was? They're charging $6.78 for this salt. It doesn't actually say on the container that I've been able to find that, hey, this has the 84 trace elements that you need to survive. I know a lot of people say that. I like the Himalayan pink salt. I'm not putting it down, but also it's not cheap, right? I would think the manufacturer, if they believed it had the 84 trace elements, they would put it on the package. So it's a little salt conspiracy theory for you. Same thing with sea salt. It has more of those minerals. It doesn't have as many as the Himalayan salt. And in terms of ingredients, it's sea salt and yellow press shred of soda, and the Himalayan salt is just salt. So technically they're all just salt. It just happens to be what else might be mixed in with the salt, the magic minerals and whatnot. So take it for what you want, do your research, but the manufacturer is not saying that all that great stuff is actually in there. The internet is saying it. And you know, some of it's preference, but there's also a lot of price. You're paying a lot for those minerals. Next thing we want to jump in, talk about, I know everybody's favorite, instant mashed potatoes. Great to have in your pantry. Long shelf life, right? Once again, long shelf life. Not super crazy expensive. This is 1 year on the package. If you want to do a Mylar bags oxygen absorbers, you could get 10 to 15 years, depending on how you store it, cool, dry place, and whatnot. But it is, it's emulsified potatoes. I always want to call it freeze-dried potatoes. I'm not 100% sure that it actually is freeze-dried potatoes. I think it's emulsified potatoes. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. I don't want to add stuff that's not on the box, but it's 80 calories per serving, 34 servings per container, 13.6 cents per ounce, 2,720 calories in the box. So that works out to $1.95 for a 1,500 calorie day, $2.60 for a 2,600 calorie day. So you're under $3 a day if all you did was live on mashed potatoes. So not the cheapest option, but it is quick and easy, right? It's a quick and easy option. Just like the other ones, it's potatoes. It's heavy carbs, 17 grams of carbs. You get 1 gram of fiber, 10 milligrams of salt, 2 grams of protein, some calcium, iron, and potassium. Once again, the ingredients are potatoes, emulsifier, and preservatives. So certainly original mashed potatoes, instant mashed potatoes. Pick your brand. Store it how you feel is appropriate. So if you're going for longer shelf life, you could do the Mylar bags O2 absorbers and whatnot. But it is a quick and easy option, right? It is something you could add to your pantry. It's not the cheapest option we've shown, but $2.60 per day is still going to be less than a lot of things, right? And with any pantry, if this is on high end of the cost of what you're willing to spend, then just consider it a treat, right? It's a pantry treat to get the instant potatoes out. I think it's cheaper than regular potatoes now, right? I think regular potatoes are pretty expensive. We're going to keep rolling here. So the next one we want to talk about is the mezcla. Mezcla is mix. This is a flour tortilla mix. Love the flour tortilla mix. Love the corn tortilla mix. It's just great. Taco Tuesday could be any day of the week. It doesn't just have to be Tuesday. Super simple and easy to make your own tortillas. And there's a lot in the bag, and it's really not expensive, right? This is a 4-pound bag. Has 49 servings, 150 calories per serving, 7,350 calories in the bag for $3.56. So we're back down into a more realistic cost per day. We're trying to keep it in that dollar. 72 cents for a 1,500 calorie day, 97 cents for a 2,000 calorie day. 1 year shelf life in the bag. So you're talking a 1 year shelf life. It's a mix, so you're going to have a hard time really extending that shelf life. You could try things like Mylar bags, O2 absorbers. be aware whenever you have a mix, there's the other ingredients in there that could affect your shelf life. It has quite a few ingredients in here. Each serving, 5 grams of fat, 360 milligrams of sodium, 23 grams of carb, 3 grams of protein, and it has your calcium, iron, and potassium. And of course, it's not gluten-free because it is flour, right? It's flour tortilla mix. Gluten is flour. So one thing about it is, in some recipes, you could use it as a substitute for flour. So if you couldn't get flour, or this is all you had and you got tired of eating flour tortillas, I don't know if that's possible, but hypothetically, you could use this as a substitute, right? It doesn't have the same level of gluten as your regular baking flour, so it may not act quite how you're used to, but if you get tired of flour tortillas and you want something else, you can give it a shot, right? So it's super easy. You just take your flour, you add water, and you roll it up in a little ball, you make your dough, you throw it on the cast iron pot, and you've got flour tortillas. So love it. It's a great item. So something else I want to jump in on. We've already talked about these as well. Oils and butters. Once again, I'm going to lay these out. If you're doing any kind of cooking, any kind of baking, you're going to want your oils and you're going to want your butters, right? And there's two different ways I can kind of look at these. And we kind of hit on the other video a little bit. One is by shelf life, right? Let's see. So regular unsalted butter, you've got 1 to 3 months in the fridge, 1 year in the freezer, 1 month less for unsalted. The unsalted you don't want to store out. So this really needs to be frozen or refrigerated. If it was salted, you could leave it out on the counter, but you're talking about a year in the freezer, maybe 1 to 3 months in the fridge. So it's not a super crazy long shelf life. Lard is a shorter shelf life. I'm trying to organize these here. The lard has a 9 months. So this is 6 months on the box, a year in the fridge, 2 years frozen. And if you look on the internet, they say 9 months. So conflicting information on the shelf life of lard, 6 months in the box, 9 months on, 1 year in the fridge, 2 years frozen. Sorry guys. So 6 months to 2 years. This is maybe 1 to 3 months to 1 year between the butter and the lard. When you look at something like the ghee, I know ghee, a lot of people think ghee has mystic powers, which is great. In terms of the actual best by date on here, says 16 months, right? 16 months on the container. It's for a best by date. I know, that's just on the container. Manufacturers are trying to protect themselves. You could say online, people say up to a year. Some people say years. There's a thing in India. There's 100-year-old ghee is a thing in India. Not sure if people are eating 100-year-old ghee, but it's a thing. So, with anything, with any oils, all of these oils, they can go rancid. That's what actually happens to oil. And really, ghee is just clarified butter. So it is butter. I'm calling oil butter, oil. You just have to be aware, right? There seem to be mixed messages on short-term effects of eating rancid oils or products with rancid oils on it. Everyone seems to agree, though, that it's not great for you. It's certainly not something you'd want to do long-term. Rancid oils, you could say it's going to make you sick, probably make you sick at some point, maybe give you cancer. Everything seems to nowadays. Jumping in on the other one that we have in here that's kind of mystic is the coconut oil. A lot of stuff online says that coconut oil is extremely healthy for you. This is, in terms of shelf life, 2 years on the container, right? Some people say 1 to 2 years. I've seen 24 months. I've seen 3 years if stored properly. So you could say 1 to 3 years, depending, right, on what you want to go with, how you store it. We said this was maybe 16 months, maybe 1 to 3 years. And then jumping to the last one is the Crisco. This is interesting. This one was interesting. I couldn't find a best by date on the container. You look online, some people say 5 years, some people say 2 years. But the lack of best by date that I could find on the container obviously makes you think it's going to last a long time, right, your Crisco. In terms of price, I think I think I had it backwards last time when I was looking at price. Let's see, the lard is 14 cents per ounce, right, 14 cents per ounce for the lard. And then we hit the butter is, no, the Crisco is 26 cents per ounce, so 14, 26, and then you hit the butter at 32 cents per ounce. Right, and then you can go to the coconut oil at 35 cents per ounce, and then finally to the Mystic Ghee at $1.27 per ounce. From a nutritional perspective, at least in terms of what's on the label, they're relatively identical in terms of calories per serving, grams of fat per serving. The unsalted butter is 30 milligrams of cholesterol per serving. The lard is 5 milligrams of cholesterol per serving. The ghee is 40 milligrams of cholesterol per serving, and that coconut oil is 0 cholesterol per serving. So if you're watching your cholesterol, that could be an option. Once again, if you're going by shelf life, you've got your Crisco. If you're going by cost, you've got your lard. A lot of stuff in between. I mean, when you're looking at oils, cooking oils, that kind of thing. There's a huge list of them out there, and I just try to pick a few from the top of the spectrum in terms of longest shelf life, a few at the bottom of the spectrum, and a few in the middle. And I'm not putting down people that love their ghee or their coconut oils, but you are paying a lot for that bonus, that mystic ability to heal you. All right, last thing I want to hit. I know we're going long here. The peanut butter granola bars, right? This was $2.15 per box, 6 servings per container, 190 calories per serving, 1140 calories for the box. So this is one of the more expensive items we've shown, but I wanted to show it not because of the cost, because of the convenience, right? This is $2.82 for 1,500 calories, $3.77 for 2,000 calories. If you compare that to just getting oatmeal rather than the granola bars, the oatmeal would be $1.38 per day instead of $3.77. If you just got flour, that would be 51 cents a day. Right, so it's more expensive than flour, it's more expensive than oatmeal, more expensive than a lot of these items. It's less expensive than something like an MRE, it's less expensive than something like an SOS ration, right? So these are quick and easy. It's a snack, it's a treat, could be your go food if you're bugging out, if you're trying to survive, you're trying to escape, you need something quick and easy, right? Not everything can be get out the flour in the pot. Or maybe it can, it depends on your situation, but if you want something that's quick and easy, going to give you that energy boost, right? And you're not excited about eating your beans out of the can. If you're hungry, you might be. It's a treat, but it has its place. It has its place in the pantry. You've got a 1-year shelf life. As I said, I think this was 1,100 calories in the box for $2.15. So it's not even a full day's worth of food for this one box. So if you're taking them camping and you're planning on living on them, you probably need at least 2 boxes a day, right, that you're actually going to eat to live on, and that's going to cost you about $3.77 for the 2,000 calorie day. So that's it, guys. I know we went over a lot, and the video was a lot longer than I expected. I appreciate everybody that stuck to the end, and keep an eye out for our other Prepper Pantry videos. So we're just trying to go through individual items, give you ideas, pick out things that might work for you that you might want to put in your long-term food storage pantry. Look at things like shelf life and look at things like cost per calorie. But whatever you get, buy the stuff you eat so you can rotate, right? You don't want just food sitting there going bad, sitting on the shelf forever that you're never going to eat. Buy stuff you'll eat, rotate your pantry. So thank you for watching, and we appreciate you.